Hey guys, it's Alex from 7th Hour Films, back again with the Sarah Jane Adventures. Last time on the Sarah Jane Adventures, we had The Last Sontaran, kind of a sequel episode to the Sontaran Stratagem episode of Doctor Who, where Sarah and the gang just encountered the Last Sontaran, who wanted to basically finish the job that they started on Doctor Who, which is destroy the Earth. Luckily, they were stopped, and at the end of that, we lost Maria and Alan, and because the two of them are moving to America because Alan got offered a job, which sucks because now we're stuck with Luke and Clyde. But yeah, that's pretty much that. This, once again, in case you cannot tell, we are on the second day of the week recording or doing Sarah Jane. Just so you know, just in case you missed it last episode, we are doing 2 episodes a week for the next, is it 6 weeks, I guess? 6 weeks of Sarah Jane, that's doubling up. In order to catch up Sarah Jane through season 3 before finishing off the Doctor Who specials. So yeah, with that being said, before we get into this episode, obviously, this is where I say no spoilers in the comments whatsoever. Let's stick to this episode and previous episodes of the Sarah Jane Adventures, Torchwood, Doctor Who, and Doctor Who Classic that I've reacted to. And with that all being said, let's get right into this episode of the Sarah Jane Adventures. Here we go. Oh no.
Who's there?
Oh God, alien clowns. Not what I need today.
But you'll see Maria again. Oh, she's coming back for her mum's wedding, isn't she? I'm sure we'll all meet up then.
It won't be the same.
Huh.
Maybe not, but that's...
Okay, that's an interesting thing. She'll come back. Do we really need to have an episode on her mother's wedding?
Both of you promise me you'll never breathe a word about what we do. Mr. Smith, any of it.
Why would we? It's not like it's Maria, is it? Come on, we're gonna be late.
Man, he's taking this hard. I mean, it makes sense. He's never had something like this. I mean, he was born like 6 months ago or some crap.
My family just moved into Bannerman Road.
Bannerman Road? Of course! Where else? Sarah Jane's right. The universe never stops weirding you out.
Sarah...
Can you keep that, like, on the down low, Clyde? Come on.
Did you just see that?
That's enough!
Whoa.
Silence, a lot of you. This is a classroom, not the home end at Stamford Bridge.
Whoa, who are you?
This is Mr. Chandra, our new head.
Oh.
This
I don't like this guy. He's the clown, probably.
my school.
Hi, Langer. I hope your classwork is as sharp
Ugh.
as it.
It takes brains to be this funny.
No, Langer. It takes brains to know when to shut
Oh,
up.
great. Invisible clowns. I still don't need this.
Do you have kids, Sarah?
Sarah Jane. All clear.
Sorry?
Oh, just my son Luke.
So don't say
There's
Sarah,
the two of
just
us.
Sarah Jane. Got it.
We've got a girl.
Why clowns? Why does it have to be clowns?
Finny, are you in there? What are you?
All I wanted to do is give you a balloon.
No! Clyde, run!
Langer!
Ah, the balloon. And Luke can see it, it's proof!
Touch it. Why? Don't know why. Just don't.
Ugh.
But you didn't tell anyone.
What is this episode?
Something about me you ought to know.
You're from another planet. I already guessed. Actually, Clyde, it's worse than that. Oh, no. Ronnie, please tell me there's a good reason why our new head just pulled up outside your house that doesn't involve the word dad.
We can't just have a good
It's
parent.
just a job.
Yeah.
You're not there.
Well, now it's just messing with you. Yeah.
Ronnie!
Are you alright?
Clowns make my skin crawl.
Yeah.
Come on.
It'd be funny if this was like the one time Sarah brought a gun. Sarah Jane brought a gun, excuse me. Why?
And in the Middle Ages, the jester.
It's not so much the clowns' showbiz history that I'm interested in as their reputation for scaring people.
She's having a hard time in there.
This is the Pied Piper. Story goes, he was coming of its plague of rats. Then when the town refused to pay him, he came back and took all their children.
A traveling entertainer.
Okay.
But
Action? What action?
Oh, I knew those were real.
They're moving!
Yeah, they are.
who conjured away a whole town's infants and has chilled the hearts of parents for more than 7 centuries.
That's really weird.
And now I am Bob the Clown. Who snatches children. I am all that you fear the most.
She is scared.
To feed on.
Oh, clowns. Why did it have to be clowns?
You are.
Get away from her! I'm scared of you.
But you are scared of me.
Hit him in the face! It's a fire hydrant! Or it's a fire extinguisher!
You have seen of all things out of the dark. You have fought. It's me that lives in your nightmares. The painted face.
Oh.
Mom! This way.
This place is huge.
You ain't seen nothing yet.
How does a freelance journalist afford a house like this? Atomic time bomb? Must be some pretty good stories then.
We have saved the world 12 times now.
For real? No one is keeping score.
Except Luke.
What's important are the rules.
I think the doctor has lost count of how many times he saved the world by now.
Planet it's from.
Across America, in the period 1932 to 1940, there were disappearances of children connected to a traveling clown known as Odd Bob.
Odd Bob.
What about the pipe? The year before the Piper arrived. Yes, the Piper was in the meteor result.
The meteorite had a diameter of 30.12 centimeters. An unlikely spacecraft, Ronnie.
Still, what do we know about it?
The meteorite is
Could have
currently
given
on
the
loan
Piper
for
his
scientific
powers.
research from the University of Munich to...
Are you going to get this meteorite for Mr. Smith?
That's a day-to-night shot.
Provide the key to stopping Spellman.
They're not filming that at night.
My room was full of lots of old toys that used to be hers.
Yeah.
One of them was a marionette, a puppet clown.
Ugh.
I never liked it.
A puppet and a clown.
It always seemed to be watching me. Then one night, there was the most tremendous thunderstorm.
Morning.
Ah,
Mum, are you alright? Oh, I don't know.
that's a powerful force field.
One of your migraines.
I didn't know sonic lipstick could just chop off part of a meteor. That's awesome. Ugh. Oh.
I didn't mean to frighten you.
Yeah, you did. You dick. Oh no.
It's as if the balloons are taking control of them.
Oh no. Pop the balloons. There's so many balloons.
The entity required more fear for its survival.
Oh.
To create fear. And it's been doing the same thing ever since.
So it is more powerful from fear.
Turn around, you don't know what you're doing!
Perhaps I should phone a friend.
Connecting now.
Oh, it looks like his line.
Ah.
It must be Mr. Smith.
Break the energy connection by calling all of their
The
phones.
phone signals are interfering.
Spellman, where are you?
Just start punching people.
Come on, my son.
Oh no, now it's getting trippy too. Ugh. Is it just me, or do we look like yams?
Of me?
If you're looking at getting fat on my fear, you're looking at a low-cal lunch.
Just punch him.
No one can destroy fear. It is part of your aura. I
Make you fear.
How do you fight fear?
Make you
What can we
afraid.
do?
Janeway had to do that.
What do you call a fish with no eyes? A magician. He's driving down the road and he turns into his house.
Oh, do what clowns are supposed to do. Make you laugh.
Participation.
You will fear me.
Two fish are in a tank. One said to the other, do you know how
Wow,
to draw
actually
fish?
beat fear with
Magician
laughter.
tells a guy he's
That
got
does
a
make
knife.
sense.
Well, that's about it.
You've always been attached to it, but you were strong enough to resist its pull. But not anymore, Mr. Spellman.
Oh.
The nightmare is over.
That's right. Get out of here. Okay.
Thank you.
How can I steal? Nothing can get through it. Not even thoughts.
Nice. I was gonna say, you need to put that in a nice prison.
The universe is a surprising place.
Anyway, Harish is making veggie chili for tea. You're all welcome to share.
Oh, I'd love to, but I really need to get on with some work. But
Look at me with my new head teacher cooking me tea. The universe really is a surprising place.
You don't really cook tea, do you? That's not how that works. It's a liquid.
yes, really is.
Oh, this was a freaky episode. Oh my gosh. Freaky clowns. Freaking clowns. Freaking clowns. Ugh. Alright. Okay. Clowns. Oh, clowns. Designed for laughter, but they're just creepy. Okay. Interesting episode, bringing in aliens and clowns. All right. So let's talk about it. So the first thing basically I wrote down, aside from the clowns themselves, the first thing I really wrote down was Maria. That interesting that we are going to, I guess she's going to come back at some point. You know, they said that it's like, oh, well, she'll come back for her mother's wedding. And it's like, oh, okay. And we kind of got, you know, her voice at the beginning of this, reading the email to Luke. The interesting, I just kind of figured that the companion, the character, would just be gone, but guess she's like around in some form. That's definitely interesting, but all right. And it's also, I mean, it makes sense that we're basically replacing Maria with another companion. That does make sense. So next thing I wrote down is Ronnie. It's kind of like, I don't know. It's like, I don't know. It's like basically Maria, if she was slightly more useful, I guess, as a companion, is maybe how I would put that. And yeah, I guess she's not. I guess she wouldn't be too different from Maria. So I guess good replacement. And it's good that she's not, you know, it's good that she would be like Maria because, like, you know, I said, if we're being left with Luke and Clyde, it's like, okay, the two goofball screw-ups of the group. So Ronnie will definitely be a decent replacement, I think. Interesting twist, I suppose, that she's related to the headmaster that doesn't like Clyde. That is kind of funny. And the fact that they would also include that, they would just include her parents at all. And, you know, one of them is sort of problematic, being the headmaster who doesn't like Clyde. Which is kind of similar it's not very similar, but it's like, okay, well, it's like with Maria, how we had her parents. We had Alan, who was there and was very, supportive, and we had Chrissy, who was incredibly annoying. So the headmaster does seem like he would be kind of interesting, and he does seem like a good guy. He's just kind of strict in how he runs the school. So, and to his credit, Clyde is a bit of a jokester, so I would understand this guy, wants discipline, and Clyde is sort of the opposite of that. So I understand that. But that might lead to some interesting dynamics. I wrote down the Pied Piper. Okay, you could have just left this at alien clowns and gotten away with it. It's like, okay, yeah, there's clowns that are aliens. Like, okay. And it's like, well, no, wait, it's not just that. It's also that the Pied Piper, the legend of the Pied Piper is true, and the Pied Piper was an alien. And it's like, oh, and now it's back. And it's like, okay, I guess. That's, interesting. So, yeah, that's definitely interesting. Oh, God. I do like that they go into the backstory, or the story of the Pied Piper, and it's interesting. And then they tie that in. It's like, well, the Pied Piper was created from fear, basically. The fear of these rats. So the Pied Piper was created to get rid of these rats, and then just got rid of all their children too when he wasn't paid, basically, and kept the fear going. The fear of, well, just the fear in general. And now, in the modern day, that's adapted to clowns, because a lot of people are afraid of clowns. So, yeah, that is interesting and creepy. So, yeah, and it's like, you need to keep fear going. It's like, you could have turned into aliens, or just like a giant spider, or just a bunch of spiders, and it's like, no, we're gonna be the Pied Piper who becomes a clown because people are afraid of clowns. Like, all right. I wrote down the frequency. That was an interesting touch, that because, we have to have some sort of, it can't just be something supernatural on these shows. There has to be something like, okay, what's the alien side of this? And for that, it's interesting. Well, first off, that, this thing feeds on fear. That's where its energy comes from. I feel like I'm shaking the camera a little bit too much. Sorry about that. So this thing feeds on energy, which is definitely interesting, and or feeds on the energy of fear, which is where the whole clown thing comes in, because it knows that, people are afraid of clowns, so if it just keeps going with clowns, then there you go. But it's also interesting bringing in sort of an alien thing where it's like, well, this certain frequency of a ringtone can disrupt the energy of the Pied Piper. So that's an interesting little touch that they threw in there, because otherwise, it really didn't have many weaknesses. Like, it's sort of it's almost a miracle that they figured out how to beat this thing. I wrote down SJ's fears. So that's also interesting that, they even said, it's like, you have seen so many things. Sarah Jane has seen so many things. Yet of everything she's seen, the one thing that has made her feared throughout most of her life are clowns. It's like, she has faced Santarans and Daleks and everyone that's been on, Sarah Jane, on the Sarah Jane adventures, and it's like, but it's a clown that's been her deepest fear, because ever since she was a child, and that, stormy night where the clown really, scared her, it's like, that is her biggest fear, is clowns. So that's interesting, and it's nice that they sort of tied that in together, and that's a bit more backstory on Sarah Jane. We've had some of that. Obviously you can look at classic Doctor Who as her backstory with her adventures with the Doctor, but even more backstory we're getting in this series with, like in Whatever Happened to Sarah Jane, with the whole thing with and Andrea Yates, that whole thing that happened, and now going even further back to when she was just, a little child. It's like, yeah, a clown puppet scared her. Not only was it a clown, it was a clown puppet. It's like, ugh, that's horrible. But again, also funny because it's like, and again, we talked about this kind of last episode. It's like, where does this take place overall in the Doctor Who story? Actually, from what I can see here on Amazon, these episodes originally aired in October of 2008. October of 2008. So was that around? I don't know. I don't know when that would be around the time that Doctor Who Series 4 ended, because it's like, and the reason I bring this up again is because it's like, throughout all of these, things I've seen Sarah Jane in, it seems like she has this specific look of total fear that she, pulls out every once in a while, basically. And the only two times I've seen this look on her face is A, when the Daleks were invading the Earth. Like, she just had this complete look of fear on her face. And now, again, with clowns. Clowns and Daleks get that complete fear in Sarah. So that's interesting. But I guess it would be that, you could view it as clowns were sort of the irrational fear, I guess. Because, she even said, it's like, I tried to convince myself, no, it was just a trick of the light. That's just a puppet. It didn't come to life. There are no clowns trying to kill me and stuff like that. Whereas a rational fear would be of the Daleks, because, they are these terrifying robotic creatures trying to murder you. So yeah, that's interesting, having those two looks of that look of fear being for Daleks and for clowns. It's just interesting. I wrote down Odd Bob, which was the name of the clown that he became. Interesting that, so it's like, it's weird. It's like we had three different villains, but they were all the same person. It's like we had like, I guess the circus leader. I don't remember the name that he had for that, but it's like we had the circus leader, then we had the Pied Piper, who showed up a little bit, but we mostly the Pied Piper was kept in backstory. And then we had the clown version of our villain, which was Odd Bob. It's like, okay, well, that's weird. And again, it is interesting that it's like all of this. Oh, God. Sorry, there was something on the wire. Something on my microphone wire. I was trying to get it off. So it's interesting that it just becomes a clown. Like, it has determined, like, this thing thrives off of fear. It's fueled by fear. So the one thing that it becomes so that it can gain that fear back is a clown. It's like, all right, that's interesting. I wrote down the meteor. That was also kind of interesting with, that the meteor basically, at first I thought the meteor gave the Pied Piper his powers, but the meteor created the Pied Piper, which is also definitely interesting. So I guess, so what's to say that, something won't be created from this meteor again? Unless I missed something, but it's like, yeah, why? I mean, they locked away basically the Pied Piper in that fragment of the meteor and locked the meteor fragment away. But what's stopping something else from being created out of this meteorite? Unless it's only like a one-time thing, like the full meteorite created the Pied Piper, and now you've locked it away, so it's like, well, it's not going to create anything else. Maybe, that'd be interesting. And then the last thing I wrote down was laugh. That's also interesting, because it's like, how do you defeat fear? Well, my instant reaction is make fear fear. That's what Janeway did on Voyager. But this was a good approach where it's like, well, to combat fear, you just need to start, you need to have fun. You need to be happy. You need to laugh. So that works. It did help that, it basically put Clyde's comedy to good use, because Clyde has sort of been, somewhat helpful, but it's like, he's sort of been the goofball of the group. And it's like, okay, well, at least now it's like that goofiness is being put to use. He's using his jokes to defeat our villain of fear. So that worked out. I did like that. And yeah, definitely interesting, an interesting episode that we had. Clowns. Just, I don't even have like a big fear of clowns. I'm just like, I don't trust any clowns. I think I remember someone said once, maybe this was on some YouTube channel or something, but it's like 98% of the people of Earth don't like clowns, and the other 2% are clowns, probably. It's like, yeah, probably. I don't see how clowns are still a thing. Like, clowns should not be a thing. Clowns are terrifying. It's just, ugh. So, yeah. But that's basically all I wrote. So, yeah. With that all being said, I'm Alex from 7th Hour Films, and I will see you guys next time. Take care. Alright guys, thanks for watching this video. If you want to watch more of my Sarah Jane Adventures reactions, you can click on the playlist, you can subscribe if you haven't done that already, and be sure you hit that notification bell. You can support me on Patreon and follow me on social media, links below in the description. See you guys later.